Okay, hi there, it's the great and glorious, hopefully soon to be famous one day, if I'm very lucky, NickDutch again. Alright, just a very quick video on the idea of black and white magic. I find these terms a little difficult to deal with, to be quite honest, because some people say that white magic is for someone's good and black magic is for someone's harm, when essentially if you do good for someone you will always be doing harm for someone else. Some people say that it is part of Wicca to harm no one, but I have been in various Wiccan covens, and sometimes even just what they were saying was hurting me a lot, because there was a lot of very strange political stuff and very peculiar religious and political ideas enmeshed in what they were saying. So there is always some harm somewhere along the line. You cannot say everything is towards someone's good. There is always some kind of negativity there, you could say. And vice versa, if you were to do someone some harm, there will always be some positivity coming through to someone at some point. So again, the definitions do get blurred. A definition, not the definition. I don't think there is such thing as the definition for white magic. Is that which is, or practices which are there to improve yourself. So even going on a self-development course or an assertiveness course could be regarded as being white magic by that definition. Alright. However, it should normally refer to religious activity, whereby you're trying to bring yourself up to a worthiness through worship. That's where you get the word worship from, to bring yourself up to a level of worthiness to connect with a higher power, higher being, and so on and so forth. So many alleged white magicians tend to work with angels, with the idea of God, or the higher being, or the grand initiators of the various different faiths, such as Jesus, Buddha, and all the rest of it. So essentially some aspects of Christian prayer is in fact a form of white magic by that definition. As I've already pointed out, white magic in the form of spell casting to do this, that and the other for someone's good can still do someone else some harm, or even the person that is intended to help might even get something negative coming from that. So that's got to be driven out. The idea of a white witch is just bullshit. You're either a Wiccan or you're not a Wiccan. There's no right or wrong, good or bad about that. But when we're looking at the term black magic, a definition of black magic is magic to try and get results. Now that could be something as simple as an altered state of consciousness, as in when you're doing meditation, or that could be something like performing a ceremonial act for the purposes of developing a very real result in the physical world or in your life. Okay, these are just definitions. Alright, some people don't like the phrase black magic, so they just say, no, I'm doing magic for results. This is results orientated magic, which is just another definition. When we contemplate, let's say, the Satanists who say they're followers of the left-hand path, what does that actually mean? There's even some self-development aspects to the Satanist religion these days. So there's even some white magic aspects to things which people dub as black magic. Alright? But from my experience, I've done forms of results-orientated magic of different types. I've done forms of enlightenment or self-development magic or angelic contacts of various different types. And there is various different benefits or negative stuff which can happen to me as a result of doing these things. When we're thinking about the more negative, if I'm actually trying to do someone harm, I've noticed that I actually have to build up a certain quantity of anger, resentment, bitterness and all the rest of it inside myself to try and make harm happen to somebody else, which then has a negative effect upon me, upon my character, my personality, my self-development and all the rest of it, and can actually make me psychologically, intellectually, emotionally regress and or become basically more childish, or indeed more dangerous and possibly even pathogenic, which then has given me more problems that I then had to work through the more positive stuff and also self-development and all the other weird stuff. But if I'm doing just meditation with the ideas of white light and all the rest of that good stuff and angelic beings, I can also become a bit too tranquil, a bit too spaced out, and that can also make it difficult for me to function as a human being. So I still got to work out, I've got to get that balance right, and I've got to still be like calm, rational, and focused, which is another reason why I take this attitude of needing to disbelieve in my experiences so that I can function as a normal person in society. When people are saying that black magic is evil, that's a soundbite. All right, it's not saying what is black magic. It's not saying what is evil. It's just a soundbite designed to strike terror into someone's heart. Or white magic is good, as I've already pointed out by my argument. There's even some negative aspects to what you call white magic. Okay, you might want to watch this video over again just so you got my argument clear and plain. So these are just just sound bites. Another aspect of this good versus evil, light versus dark duality is I don't know whether we can't say whether it's a myth or whether it's a reality, okay? But I'm going to call it the myth of there being like two warring sides in the world. One is the screwed up, resentful, bitter, angry, full of hatred side, and the other is the sort of calm, peaceful, loving, and beneficial side. And like the myth is that these are perpetually at war. And that's the ideas that we have, of course, in the Book of Revelation. That's the ideas we've got in Christianity. That's the ideas we've got in some strains of Wicca and in occultism. Okay, well, if that theory gives you a buzz, fine. I see that as more of a metaphor for my own mentality and your mentality as a human being. There are some people who are just like soulless, lifeless, listless, empty people who don't care whether they hurt someone. Alright? There's other people who care so much that they can't actually work for a living because, that's wrong and money's wrong, so those people end up like starving or getting in serious trouble or and all the rest of that. Not realizing you need to be assertive, you need to like fight for your survival, which is good, but like fighting to hurt someone else because it's cool is just like twisted and unnecessary. So everything is about getting the balance right. When I'm experimenting and exploring various different entity concepts, the ones which are regarded as being dark in an evil sense, I do feel uncomfortable with. Alright, I don't like that. I just grates against me, so I don't tend to work with that. I tend to work with something about my own level or something slightly higher. Alright, that's the way it's easier. Alright, and it's saner. You don't want to do a meditation ritual on something which is seriously twisted and messed up and has got hang-ups and all the rest of it, because it can do you harm. Alright? Unless you've already fortified your aura tremendously with your ultimate concept of good, or whatever that is to you, okay, to defeat or control or to inspire this negative energy to change. When I'm working with the ideas of being a spiritual healer, I would say that yes, there are, in inverted commas, alright, blobs of energy around who have these screwed up mentalities, and part of my job as a healer is to help them so that they can start clearing up their own head. Of course, I can't do that unless I've gone through a process of self-development and personal development to become, proverbially or whatever, well enough to be able to be of assistance to these lower level entity spiritual forces, which happens with life. Alright, it happens with the right type of reading, the right type of self-development, the right type of attitude, and essentially personal growth. So don't be afraid of the idea of good versus evil. There's things which are good for you, alright, and there's things which are bad for you. And it's worthwhile thinking about not putting ideas which are bad for you inside your own mind. Alright, that's essentially the best way, I reckon, the best way of describing it, okay? So I'll leave you with that for the moment. Have a think about it, just and play about. I'll just end on a quick joke, okay? I did once hear of a real black magician. He was very proud of his African heritage. See you in a bit.